Hi, I'm Joyce Harper, Professor of Reproductive Science at the Institute for Women's Health at University College London. Welcome to Season 3 of my podcast, Why Didn't Anyone Tell Me This? This season, we'll be diving into topics that explore how to achieve good health and happiness. I'll be speaking with leading experts who will provide evidence-based advice and debunk some of the many myths around our health. Additionally, I'll be having conversations with individuals who bring unique perspectives through their lived experiences. In Season 3, we'll cover a diverse range of topics, including reproductive anatomy, inspiring female icons, chronic health conditions, factors that influence our well-being, and global women's health issues. I really hope you enjoy Season 3 of Why Didn't Anyone Tell Me This? Welcome to the first in the mini-series about reclaiming joy. I'm going to speak to 4 people about very different methods of finding joy. First, I'm going to have a discussion with Deborah Ives, solo traveller and adventure maker. Deb has always loved to travel, which for 20 years she did with her husband. When she found herself unexpectedly divorced 15 years ago, she decided that if she wanted to have the kinds of holidays she enjoyed, she would have to take a leap of faith and travel solo. She didn't want to backpack or share a room, and she didn't want to be herded around in a group following a strict, inflexible itinerary, but she did want to be safe and have some fun. So she set up Solo in Style with the idea of connecting like-minded women to encourage and support one another with their solo travels. Alongside a successful 30-year career in marketing, fine wine and culinary arts, Deb, now aged 65, continues to expand Solo in Style globally to support and encourage as many women as possible to fulfill their solo travel ambitions. Deb has a huge following on social media. On Facebook, the group is called Solo in Style, and on Instagram at Solo in Style. Welcome, Deborah.
Hello, Joyce. It's so great to be here with you. I love chatting with you. So thanks so much for inviting me onto your podcast.
Oh, it's a real pleasure. I love chatting to you too. And I absolutely love it when people have had a major career change at any point in their lives. And you certainly have done this.
Right.
So, can you start by telling us more about your early career and when everything changed for you?
Yeah, so I had a very long career actually in sort of IT and technology. So I was always on the marketing and sales side. So I worked for quite a lot of US sort of Silicon Valley startups. And I would be part of a small team that then launched whether it was hardware or software into Europe. And I did that for a long, long time. So, very sort of technical products and kind of things like, big data and analytics, all this stuff that, we're using every day. But so interesting, but yeah, completely sort of different to what I have ended up doing. And I did it right up until about a year ago, actually. So I was still working full time in that role.
And now you've had a big change, which we're going to talk about. So
Yeah,
you're
yeah,
running,
I know.
yeah, you're running this great company called Solo in Style. But let's go back a little bit. So you really love traveling, but you ended up doing your first solo trip when you got divorced. So can you tell
Right.
us more about that first trip? And I know you've described it as being scary. So tell us more about
Yeah.
what happened.
So yeah, so I mean, like a lot of people, I always loved traveling from a fairly early age. But it was, pretty much sort of, well, as I was working full time, it would be sort of holidays, 2 weeks here, 2 weeks there. And I was married for 20 years, and with my husband, we did like to kind of go and do some quite sort of exotic locations. We were both keen scuba divers, so we would go and, to places around the world and have great holidays. And then completely out of the blue, he basically announced that he was off. And at that point, I was planning this fantastic trip of a lifetime to Borneo to do a bit of jungle, a little bit of sort of wildlife, and then ending up on this fabulous diving island called Sipadan. Well, you can't stay on the island, but diving on the island. I used to watch Jack Cousteau. Do you remember Jack Cousteau? I
Yeah.
used to watch him on Saturday nights. So I'm really into diving. And then, so suddenly I found that there I was with sort of, an itinerary and tickets for two. And so I remember speaking to the agent who'd organised it all and saying, would it be okay if I went on my own? And he said, yeah, absolutely. So I was sort of thrown in at the deep end, and it was. I mean, looking back on it, it was quite a sort of a big a big trip to do for your first solo. Because normally, when I talk about it, I might say to women who are thinking about it, start with a small weekend here or go local, whatever. This was like off I went, and I mean, it was petrifying, absolutely petrifying, but in a really great way. And I met some fantastic people. I had some amazing experiences and I learned so much. And at the end of it, I just thought, oh my God, this is liberating. It's fantastic. I can do this on my own. And sort of that was where it all began, really.
So you started Solo in Style about 15 years ago. So what made you think, right, I'm going to
Yeah.
take that trip and build it up?
Yeah, yeah. So when I got back, I was a bit full of myself and thinking, oh, this is fantastic. There must be lots of women. So I must have been sort of 50 at this point because I'm 65. So it's like, yeah, I was like 49, 50. I didn't actually realize, but I must have been menopausal because perhaps some of my anxiety was fueled by that aspect of my life as well. So it was divorce, menopause, and trips at the same time. So, but, we just get through with things, don't we? So, I remember thinking there must be other women in my situation who were doing the same sort of thing. And so I started to look around online and I really couldn't find anything. I mean, the only things that I could sort of find really were sort of like, come on a leisurely, painting class or a cruise, for ladies of a certain age. And it didn't really speak to me. I mean, there's nothing wrong with that at all, but it wasn't what I kind of thought I fancied doing. So I sort of started to plan more solo trips, not all of them big successes, I must admit. And I also started this Facebook group called Solo in Style, women over 50 traveling solo and loving it. And so that was kind of when it all began. And I mean, for a long time, there was just tumbleweed in this group. There really weren't that many people, ladies in there, women in there. And then it began to get a little bit of momentum. And we even kept going during lockdown. I was thinking, how on earth are we going to keep a group about, travel going? But we did, and it grew and it grew. And post COVID, it just went through the roof. And now I think there's 620,000 women worldwide part of this community. And so, as a sort of an add-on to that, I blog, I write, I like to talk about solo travel, female travel, and have now just begun to start running some tours for the ladies, women in the group, and so it's now become more of a business, which has meant that I could sort of retire from my other life and concentrate on this full time, pretty much for a year now, actually.
Deb, that just makes me smile so much. It's such a great story. I love it when people have this passion and also you didn't plan this. It's just evolved.
Right.
Yeah, it grew. I'd love that.
Yeah, it did grow, and it did. I mean, when I started it, there wasn't any sort of master plan. It was just a case of, well, I would like to be in communication with women in the same situation as me, and now it feels. I mean, there are so many statistics about how, as a demographic of travelers, we have grown. I mean, women on their own, traveling on their own, women over 50, women over 65. I mean, there are loads of statistics on that. But I mean, we are a huge demographic, and it's becoming, really. We are now being noticed, and we can talk about all of that, during our conversation. But back then, it really was a little bit of a strange concept, I think. And when I was even looking at sort of holiday companies, there weren't really any doing solo holidays. Now, when you look, I mean, everybody seems to have a solo offering, but they do say, don't they, that if you can take a passion and turn it into into sort of your profession, then you never have to work a day in your life, something like that. But so yeah, I mean, I'm loving it. I'm really enjoying it very, very much, and yes, I'm really happy about it. And I look back actually, and I think, well, what I went through with my divorce was devastating. My life turned upside down. It was one of the worst things that's happened in my life. But when I look now where I am, I think, well, I wouldn't be here if that hadn't happened. So lots of positive things to come out of it.
Also, one of my favorite things to turn a really negative situation into something so positive. So you're just
Right.
amazing. It's ticking every box for me. And let's look at some of those numbers. So as you said, you've got over 600,000 followers on Facebook. I mean, that's
Right.
incredible. I couldn't believe it. I had to keep checking when I saw it. I thought, have
Yeah.
I got too many noughts on there? No, six over
I know
600.
it
It's a
is.
that is astounding.
Yeah.
And yeah, you've got over 13,000 followers on Instagram. And I heard one of your interviews where there was some data from the BBC that said that 40% of women want to travel solo. So this
Right.
is it's you've really stumbled into something that's so important and resonates so much with women, haven't you?
Well, I think timing is, yeah, absolutely. Timing is everything. I mean, and I was looking today because these numbers change all the time. I remember I did an interview with the Guardian a year or so ago, and the statistics there were very different to how they are now. And some of the things that catch my eye. I mean, my group is sort of over 50, but I'm certainly way over 50. I'm 65 now, and something like 18% of women over 65 um, have taken a solo trip, and that's up from only 4% in 2019. So that is a massive increase in women. And I see that in my group trips. I mean, we have ladies in the group who join us who are mid 50s, right up to sort of early 70s, mid 70s, and age is but a number. Everyone just gets along and has a great time. And I mean, I think you can see that we are a bigger demographic, and we're a powerful voice now, which is why so many companies are kind of taking notice of us. And I think it's something like 84% of all solo travelers, this is of any age, are women.
Wow.
And I mean, I often look around when I'm traveling and thinking, where are the groups of men? I don't see them. They must be there traveling, but I don't ever tend to see them. But maybe, they travel in a different way. I'm not sure.
Yeah, I'm not sure. That's a good question. I have a feeling, and this is going to upset some people. I have a feeling that this is speaking very generally, but so many of the women I know, I'm sort of seeing a different algorithm, probably. Maybe you are as well. But I see women who, at our age, have a passion for life, and we don't want to sit at home and just do nothing and read a book. We want to be out and
Yeah.
expand our lives. And again, I have no evidence for this, but just speaking anecdotally to women about their husbands don't want to do that. The husbands do want to stay at home.
Yeah.
They
Yeah.
don't want to go off
Yeah.
traveling and having adventures. So, but yeah, sorry
Well,
who I've
yeah,
upset.
that's a really good point. Because, yeah, no, I think you're right, Joyce. And it's not just that. I mean, the women who travel or who are in my community, they're not necessarily single. Many of
Yeah.
them have got partners who they may have another passion that they want to pursue, as golf or fishing or whatever it is, or cycling or whatever it might be. Or like you say, they just don't really have that desire to kind of see the world. So it's not just single women, it's just women who are choosing to travel solo.
Yeah, and we are totally generalizing. I absolutely know men who do have a passion for
Yeah.
adventure. So just putting that there. So
Yeah, yeah, absolutely right. You're right. You're right. You're right. Yeah.
and as you said, this is not just single women. And one issue, again, speaking to my girlfriends and people I know, some of my friends who are married or living with someone, they want to do different types of holidays. And I
Right.
always say to them, don't just regret it and compromise and you don't have to go on holiday with your partner. Go and do
Yeah.
the holiday that you want. Our life is running out at our age. We have to admit that. So do the holiday you want. So what advice would you give to women in this situation who have got a partner who doesn't want to do what they want to do?
Yeah, I mean, I think it is. I think you have to obviously sort of be sensitive to the situation. But I think you're absolutely right that you know, as long as you're willing to let your partner go and do whatever they may want to do in terms of travel, then there's no reason why you can't do both. You can travel as a couple, but you can also travel on your own or travel with other friends or however you want to do it. And I think you just mentioned a really good word, which is compromise. And I think that's one word that comes up. I mean, there's lots of words that come up in the group. I mean, even though it's a huge group, it is a massively active group. So there are thousands of posts every day and hundreds of thousands of comments every day. But there are some very kind of overarching themes. One of them is that about, I love going on holiday with my friends or my partner, but oh my God, when I'm on my own, I don't have to compromise. I can be selfish in the very best way, and I can do what I want to do and not have to worry about anybody else. And I think that is a huge theme, that comes out in the group, along with, don't wait, just do it. That's the other one. If you're on the fence, don't think about it. Just, get on with it and do it, because you won't regret it. That's another theme too. There are quite a few of them. But yeah, compromise is a good one, isn't it? I mean, I am a real people pleaser. I think it's middle child syndrome, but I don't know why. But I am. And I always have to feel like, which is great in many situations. But then there are times when I just really enjoy going on my own somewhere and doing exactly what I want. Yeah, it's great.
Well, I think quality time alone. It's one of my things. So you know about this because I've interviewed you for my book, and I asked all the women I interviewed, do you have quality time alone? And I'm going to write a chapter on that for my book. I think it's so
Yeah,
important to do what we and not to compromise with anybody. As you said, it might be your girlfriends or whatever. So going on that holiday on your own, I think's amazing. But there must be people must be nervous, and there must be some women who do want to do that, but they haven't got the courage to go on their own.
yeah,
So how can
yeah.
you help them take that first step? There may be many women listening. What yes, this is coming out in the beginning of the summer. They want to go on that holiday on their own. How do you help them?
Yeah, I mean, there are lots and lots of ways that you can travel solo. So, for example, I mean, if you are really, if you're someone who's a little bit nervous, I mean, we talk about this a lot in the group, but some of the obvious things in terms of getting started are, go local, have a weekend somewhere local, get used to kind of being on your own, if it's a hotel or if it's an Airbnb or a bed and breakfast or whatever. Just get used to how that feels, get used to kind of eating on your own, get used to managing Google Maps or whatever it might be, or driving, whatever that is. Just get used to it locally if that's something that you feel that doesn't come easy to you. And then there are so many ways, once you decide that you want to do this, so you can travel as part of a group. If you want to paint, or you want to have cookery lessons, or you want to learn a new skill, or lots of walking groups, or lots of different types of cycling, whatever it might be, you can join a group. And there are lots for solo women, including the ones that we now run through Solo in Style. And those are small groups where you can get to know people as you explore traveling solo. So one of the biggest things I think that well, I was certainly nervous about, and still am to a certain degree, is when you arrive at your destination and you come through an airport, and you're in a foreign country. To have somebody with your name on a sign waiting for you, I think, is one of the one of the biggest things that anybody can do as a solo traveler, and it just eases your nerves, and you're going to get to your first evening safely. So, and then if you're in a group, then you meet everybody else in your group, and away you go. So, there are lots of ways that you can travel, sort of solo but not alone. Volunteering is a fantastic way. I mean, there's lots of ways. But just think about why you want to travel. What is it you want to do? Do you want to I build a lot of my solo trips around food, restaurants, food, eating things, food markets, but it can be around your own passion. And so just have a think about that, and then slowly but surely, your plans will come into your mind. And then preparation, there are loads and loads and loads of resources where you can kind of get very practical skills on how to get started. What do I think about with my accommodation? What do I think about ground transport? I mean, all these things. So there's lots of help.
I think that's such a great idea to, if you haven't travelled anywhere on your own, to go local. Your
Yeah.
your experience in this from the last 15 years is just would be so perfect for anybody who's about to embark on their first trip and want some advice. And do most people have an idea of where they want to go, or is it something that you can do to help them decide? As you say, there's so many different types of holidays.
Yeah. Yeah. It's interesting, isn't it? Because quite often, I mean, I think it's a really interesting question. How do you decide where you want to go on, I mean, on your holiday? There are so many different reasons why, I mean, I used to collect stamps. When I was a girl guide. And I remember we collected stamps, and I remember seeing stamps of Tonga, and I don't know why they stuck in my mind. And I was obsessed with going to Tonga, and I did actually go to Tonga with my ex-husband, as it happens. But that was a long time ago. So I mean, there's lots of things. People watch, dramas on television and think, "Oh my God, I really want to experience, I don't know, something in the UK that is like Bridgerton or whatever." For me, as I say, I like to kind of look at where people are eating in fabulous places around the world, not necessarily expensive, just interesting, different with foodie culture. So some people, have very good ideas of where they want to go, and others are just like, oh, I need a week of rest and relaxation, and I live here. Where should I go? Hit me up with ideas, and that's what's so great in the group. I mean, somebody will put a question like that in the group, and there may be something like 500, 600 answers of I've just back from here, or have you thought of that, or check this out, or this hotel's amazing. So you can get everything from sort of moral support through to very practical tips on where should I go, everything.
It's such a valuable group that's just so amazing. And there's so many different ways to travel. So we've got backpacking to five-star hotels. What's the
Yeah.
ethos of Solo in Style?
Well, I just kind of liked the name, and style to me just means whatever your style is. It can be in a camper van, it can be in a 5-star luxury hotel, it can be whatever your style is. Just embrace it and make it your own. And your style can change. There may be times when you want to be slightly more luxurious, or times when you want to be slightly more sort of take things as they come and just kind of experience something more local. So I just think it's whatever style you want. Just embrace it and have fun, and just enjoy whatever style you decide to travel in. Yeah.
Brilliant, brilliant. And I think some women will worry about things like safety or loneliness. So, what are some of the biggest myths or misconceptions people have about solo travel, especially for women and midlife women and beyond?
Yeah, I mean, obviously, security and safety is huge, and of course, we all want to remain safe whenever we travel. And there are some very practical things that you can do in terms of, being met at the airport if you're arriving somewhere that you don't know, so that you get to your first night's accommodation safely, or make sure you arrive during daylight hours. Make sure you have copies of your documents. Make sure you tell your friends and family where you're going. All these kinds of things. I mean, I think one of the big things now, I mean, I think about this a lot actually, is how lucky we are in a way that we can travel and we're still connected. So we can get on Google Maps, generally speaking, not everywhere, of course, but, even in the most remote places, you can stay connected. So you can keep in touch. You can, if you're feeling a bit lonely, have a FaceTime call with your family or your friends or your partner or whatever. You can share experiences. So I think that helps also with the aspect of safety. And I mean, I think there's a lot to be said about, trusting your gut, because I think we are generally sensible people, and if we feel uncomfortable in a situation, then we should remove ourselves from it, and trust. But I do also believe in the kindness of strangers, and quite often you can find yourself in a bit of a ticklish situation, and somebody will come to your rescue. And I think, well, I would do that. I mean, I would do that, and I'm sure you would, Joyce. If you meet somebody on the London Underground and they're completely stranded and they ask for help, you help them. So I do believe in all of that. So, of course, you have to be sensible. You have to kind of, I think, plan a little bit more. Well, I plan a little bit more. I mean, some women do just go and see where the wind blows them, and keep connected. I mean, if we were doing it with, an A to Z, and do you remember what were they called? The Lonely Planet guides, and you'd be
Yeah.
flicking through the pages to try and find, all that. I think it would be a bit different, wouldn't it? But so yeah,
I think having that connection on Facebook and on Instagram, but the Facebook group especially, and people say, "Well, I've been there and it was good and I had a great
yeah,
time." I think that's
Yeah.
so invaluable. I think this next question is probably impossible. So maybe a few. Do you have a favorite destination or a few destinations that you think are
Oh, good.
especially welcoming or empowering for solo travelers? But I think it's hard because, as you said, everyone wants something different out of their holiday.
Yeah, yeah. It is hard to come up with something. I have to say, of my solo trips, I think I enjoyed Sri Lanka a lot. In fact, I enjoyed it so much I went back and did the whole island. I just absolutely loved Sri Lanka. I found it very safe. I found the people very welcoming. And I loved it. I would love to explore more of Australia solo and New Zealand. I really don't know New Zealand very well at all. And Australia, the bits I've been to, I loved, so I'd like to see more. Um, and of course, there isn't, for me, us English speaking people, there isn't a language barrier there. But I mean, there's so many places. I was absolutely blown away by Japan. It never even came on my radar. And then when I went, I thought, oh my God, this is amazing. I'd love to go back and do more. Um, so, yeah, it's hard to say, isn't it? I mean, of course, we're very lucky where we live. We can get into Europe fairly easily and quickly. Um, and actually, at the moment, I'm really craving exploring more of the UK. I've got this thing at the moment about wanting to go up onto the northeast coast and go to Bamborough Castle and Lindisfarne and walk on beaches and eat oysters. Um, and I'm really wanting to do that. So everywhere, anywhere, everywhere. It's hard to pick a favourite.
But you've really you've really given people a little flavour there of some exciting things you can do. So Bamborough. so I got my camper van last year, so I've been going off solo. To be honest, I haven't been solo for that long because I've got lots of friends around the UK that I've been catching up with. So it's been absolutely such a privilege to catch up with friends, some of them I haven't seen for 20 odd years. And it was just like yesterday, it was absolutely beautiful. But some of my friends, some lovely friends, Kevin and Rachel, took me to this amazing field just by it's in Bamborough. Um,
Right,
and and it's on the estuary, and you're actually facing west, so you see the sunset, which sort of messed around with my head a bit because I thought Bamborough we should see sunrise, not sunset. But it
right.
was the
Yeah, yeah.
most idyllic place I think I've ever been, and I cannot wait to go back there. I was due to go there a few weeks ago, and my camper van was still in the menders, and I was really frustrated. But I'm going to the Edinburgh Festival this summer,
Oh, brilliant.
I went there on my own. Actually, some friends came the next few days, but I had the first day at Edinburgh Festival on my own, and yeah, going to Bamborough. I want to go with my friends. I'll go with my friends again, but I really want some time there on my own. I think that's so amazing. So yeah, the UK, please, it's
I
amazing.
know,
It's
I know,
fabulous.
I know. I know. And I think I remember seeing one of your posts where you were in your camper van and it was looking out of a window and you were like, I'm in my happy place. So I think you were just about to start writing. I bet it was even there because I think they might have had a beautiful sunrise or sunset behind it. But yeah, you see, you don't have to go far, do you? You just, and I'm really intrigued to know how you get on with. I mean, do you feel safe in your in your van on your own? Do you feel secure? Is that something that worries you a little bit?
Yeah, I am often with friends, but I have we often wild camp. We do sometimes go to campsites, but often we've just wild camped. Gives that for us that extra little sense of adventure. And you can
Right.
wild camp in some amazing places. But I have done quite a few. I've done a few nights totally on my own, just parked up, and I have felt very, very safe. I'm
Right.
I'm an optimist. Friends have said to me because I'm a wild swimmer. I've got some stickers in the car that say things like "dry robe, no knickers." And when I put it in my camper van, people said, "Oh, you can't put that in. Some man will come and molest
Oh,
you." And I'm like,
oh, for God's sake.
sorry, what is the chance if I'm camped up on
I
some
know.
remote
I
place,
know.
that some rapist is going to come by, see the sticker, and think, oh, that's an invitation to go rape this woman. And I just think we can't live our life like that. We can't think, oh, there's going to be a rapist or a murderer
Oh,
somewhere.
I agree. I agree. Yeah,
We, we can't
I
do that.
agree. And Yeah, you've got to be sensible, but you've also got to be realistic. Yeah, and a little bit like you're optimistic generally in life, but also just positive. Yeah, yeah,
Yeah.
absolutely.
But saying that, we obviously do need to be careful and not put ourselves in
Hmm.
danger. But
Right, right, right.
I think things could happen anywhere. Um, do you think that when women start on this journey, so you've probably met quite a few women or spoken to women on social media who have now changed. They've started small and now they're doing bigger adventures. So do you think
Yeah.
that it helps women's confidence and their happiness and their quality of life doing solo travel?
Yeah, I think 100%, 100%. And I think, and I think it sort of depends maybe slightly on your starting point. I mean, a lot of women do come to this because they find themselves on their own slightly later in life. So they've lost their partner, or they're divorced, or they're empty nesters, whatever it might be. And so there is a little bit of a, well, if I don't do it now, it's never going to happen. And there's, I wanted nowhere, no one to go with me, so I may as well do it on my own. But I mean, but I do think a lot of women have got a lot more than that from it. So they have been at a point in their lives where, not a crossroads, that's a bit sort of dramatic, but they are at a point where they could so easily just keep the status quo and do nothing, but know that they want to do something. And it's really interesting question as why travel comes up as the thing that so many people talk about. I mean, even things like, when you see people on quiz shows, if they win the big prize, they're all going to travel. Everyone's going to travel. It's travel, travel, travel. What is it about travel? Not everybody wants to do it, of course. So I think about that quite a lot. And I think for myself and other women who are slightly older and are doing this for the first time solo, it is it is overcoming your initial fears and trepidation. It is being comfortable being on your own, and having thoughts come into your head and managing all of that. It might be for some people meeting new people, because you meet, as you would know, so many people when you're traveling solo. You just so many people to talk to and chat to. You're never really on your own unless you want to be. And I think it just has, a lot of it. I mean, some ladies have said to me, without being really, overly dramatic, that it's changed their lives, completely changed their life. It's opened them up to a whole set of new friends, new experiences, new things that they never thought they would do. And so that is really a wonderful thing.
That it is a really wonderful thing. And one thing we do worry about as we get older is loneliness, and we
Yeah,
shouldn't have that if we're susceptible to it. We should really try and do something. And for me personally, so I travel a lot to conferences. So next week I'm going to Jeddah.
right.
I always fly out, almost always fly out on my own and fly back. And as you said, that person standing there with my name, some occasionally they're
Yeah,
not there, and I'm like,
yeah,
oh, where
yeah,
are they? Midnight. I've
yeah,
landed. Strange country. Got to make phone calls.
yeah.
But so I've got that confidence about traveling on my own to all sorts of places, but I have to go where the conference is. And what I
Right,
haven't done, and what listening to you has really opened in me, is all those places. I've never been to Sri Lanka. I've never been to New Zealand. There are lots of
right.
places that I haven't been to because the conferences are not there. And up until recently, I've always rushed back to look after my kids, and now they've gone. so
See, there you go. Add on a few days, or stop somewhere on the way back or on the way out there. Yeah,
Yeah, I've got
a
two
great
extra
opportunity.
days in Jeddah, and I've asked them
Brilliant.
to organise some. They are organising some tours, so it's sort of a bit removed. But listening to you and following your groups, I really am going to start making a list of those places I want to go on my own and start planning some adventures. And I
Yeah,
think that travel and adventures and that sense of feeling free are really, really important. And at our age, more than
mm,
ever. And when I interviewed you and the others for my book, I did ask them about travel and adventures and feeling free. So Deb, what does freedom mean to you now? And has it changed since you were younger?
Oh gosh, yeah. I mean, I mentioned earlier that I'm a bit of a people pleaser, and I was a bit of a goody two shoes, and I always followed the rules. And I actually wish, I think, looking back, I wish I'd broken a few more rules. Not broken the law, but pushed a few more boundaries. I was always, I was, I was always so scared I was going to get found out and I was going to be in trouble. And I always wanted everyone to like me, and I wanted. So I think freedom for me is pleasing myself more, and and not being embarrassed by that or feeling uncomfortable about it or feeling negative. I mean, thinking of it as a positive thing. There are plenty of times we all spend our, lots of time looking after and caring for and being with partners and friends and family. But so freedom to me is being able to just, be able to please myself and do what I want to do, and without feeling, like I said, without feeling selfish or uncomfortable, and I enjoy that a lot.
And no compromising.
No, I still compromise. I mean, life is full of compromises. It would be a bit of
True.
a tough life if we never compromised, right? But there are some situations where I will be a little bit more, If I'm completely on my own on a solo trip, then yeah, there's no compromise. It's what I want to do. But of course, if I'm in a group, of course, there's compromise, and I'm very happy to do that. But yeah, just being, like you say, if honestly, I think about things like, well, I'm 66 this year, your travel insurance goes up at 70, it just become, I mean, I've got some creaking knees and hips, and, I try to keep fit and active, but, there are compromises that I have to make in the way that I travel a little bit. And I think as we get older, we probably all have to do that, being honest with ourselves about what we can and can't do. But having said that, I have to just say, and this, I just thought this was brilliant. We just had a fantastic trip to South Africa in March, and with a group of 12 of us went, and we'd been up to Table Mountain, and we'd hiked on Table Mountain, and then we went to the hill, and I keep forgetting the name of it, next door to Table Mountain, where they have a cannon salute at 12 o'clock every day. And they had all these paragliders jumping off. So I was with the group, and I said, "Oh, gosh, I wished I'd known we could this was happening. I would quite like to have a go at paragliding." Before we knew it, five of us decided we were just going to do it, spur of the moment, and we did it. And we paraglided off this hill. Um, it was amazing. It was fantastic. And obviously, you do it in tandem. And they were all male instructors taking us. But they had your phone on a what do you call it, selfie stick. So they're steering with one hand and videoing, Table Mountain and all this stuff in the background. And we just kind of paraglided over and landed beautifully well on the obviously on the ground just by the sea. Oh, it was fantastic. So there's a lot of adventure in us yet. So even if as we get older, I think, if that's the kind of thing you like to do, then do it.
I'm sure you're stimulating lots of people to think, why, where am I going? Where am I going? And I just love
Zip
that.
lining, that's another thing. I love it. Yeah.
Zip line. Have you jumped out of an aeroplane?
I haven't, but you see, I don't think I'd do that
Uh,
because I don't think I would like that free falling feeling of free falling. Have you ever done it?
I've wanted to, but I'm just too scared. I admire anybody who's done it. We're all very
Yeah.
different, aren't we? We all love different things. We've all got different comfort zones. And this is the beauty of what
Right.
you're doing, because Solo in Style is giving you all those different choices. So we should definitely do what's comfortable for us, unless we
Right.
want to push
Right. Oh,
ourselves. So
absolutely.
yeah, yeah. And
Yeah.
an adventure. I talk a lot about adventures, and people do think an adventure is jumping out of an aeroplane or doing something extreme. But I say, adventure could just be, going for a walk somewhere you've never been before. It can be tiny or huge.
Jumping in your car or on the train and just going off and exploring somewhere that you haven't seen that's fairly local. I think what you do in your camper van is very adventurous. I think that's really, and I think that's fantastic. That's fabulous. To me, that's adventurous. So yeah, you're right. It's all a matter of what we're comfortable with and our perspective, right?
Yeah, yeah. Well, and for some people that would be their worst nightmare. So let's everyone should do
Yeah,
what's right for them. But
absolutely.
one thing I also asked everyone I interviewed for the book was that we mentioned earlier quality time alone. I just wanted to go back to that because you've said before that solo life isn't about loneliness; it's about choice. So can you tell us more about that distinction? That it's not about loneliness, is it?
Right. No, no, absolutely not. I mean, I live on my own. So I never had children. I live on my own and have done for the last 15 years since I got divorced. I mean, obviously, I've got friends and family. My family are all up in Yorkshire, and I see them often, and I have quite an active social life, and I take part in various clubs and things when I'm here in London. So so I don't feel at all lonely, not at all lonely. And I am one of these people who will always kind of find things to do, and take myself off for a nice lunch if I want to do that, or I'll take myself off to for walks, or to visit gardens, or to, I mean, being in London, it's fabulous because of course we have a lot of different museums and other things that we can enjoy too. So I don't feel lonely at all. And I know that if I want to be with people, I can be. I think it's just being comfortable being alone. And I am comfortable being alone. Yeah.
I love
And
that.
happy. Yeah.
Comfortable being alone is excellent. And as we age, loneliness is a big problem for many people. And
Oh, it's a huge problem.
yeah,
Huge problem. And I mean, and of course, not everybody can get out and about, and not everybody is able, to travel, or some people are very uncomfortable meeting new people for the first time, very introvert, and find that very, I mean, so there's lots of different situations. So it's not easy just to say, oh well, get out and do something. I mean, I can appreciate that that's not always an easy thing for many, 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 many people.
yeah, for sure. Now, Deb, what's next for Solo in Style? Are there any new adventures, projects, places you're planning to go to that you're excited about?
Yeah, lots of new adventures. We just launched. We have kind of different ways that we travel. So we have a concept called the getaway, where we go to. These are all in Europe. So where we go to Italy or Spain. We're actually going to Sicily and Puglia and Tuscany, and we take either the whole boutique hotel with maybe 12 or 13 rooms, or we take the whole villa, and we get chefs come to cook for us, and we sort of have it sort of and we kind of immerse ourselves a little bit more into the local culture, and we don't really move around that much. We might go to two, possibly three places in the space of 2 weeks. And so we have just launched our 2026 program to Mallorca. I mentioned Italy. We're adding Morocco this year, next year. And then on top of that, I do have. I love to support companies that are owned, female owned, and female led. So I work with a fabulous lady in Tanzania who is one of only three local female tour operators in the whole of Tanzania. All of the other tour operators are either male, or they are companies that are owned by people who are not from Tanzania. So I went to see her last year and had a fabulous time. So we built some safaris together, and we're going this year with the group, but we've also launched them for next year to Tanzania and Zanzibar, which are just beautiful. And then some more like tours where we kind of, like, we've just done Vietnam and Cambodia, we did Japan, India, we've got some coming up for Thailand. So those are more sort of traditional tours, and they're always small groups, always small groups. And the big thing is that you always get your own room. There's no room sharing. You always get your own room with your own bathroom. I don't know about you, but I'm just not very good at sharing a room. And for me, that's a bit of a deal breaker. So everybody gets their own room. So there's lots and lots of great And we're always adding. Got trips to Lapland and all kinds of things. For me personally, there are lots of places I still want to go. I mentioned Australia, New Zealand. I haven't seen the Northern Lights, even though I probably could see those in Northumberland somewhere or Durham at the moment. Um, and I want to do a bit more writing. I want to do more speaking. I love to talk about this subject in all its different kind of capacities, from a travel perspective, but also from the kind of female empowerment and all of that we've touched on. So never a dull moment.
That is just brilliant to hear. And you're the first podcast in the next mini series, which is called Reclaiming Joy. And
Right.
I really
I love that.
want, yeah, it's I really want women to be aware that they can do the things we're going to talk about in this mini series. They can reclaim their joy. So if travel's been something that they wanted to do and they haven't done it, please join your Facebook group, follow you on social media, and I'll put those
Yeah.
links in the show notes.
Oh, thank
And
you. Yeah,
get the courage and the motivation to do this, and just go and do whatever you want to do. The world is your oyster; it's
exactly.
out there. Just do it and follow you.
Yeah. Oh, well, thank you. That's great. And yeah, but also, yeah, please do join the community because you'll be amazed at the breadth and depth of knowledge and support. And I mean, honestly, I don't think there is, somebody will ask a really wacky question about some country place that no one's ever heard of, and you'll find 20 people are there at the moment, 15 have it on their go-to list, 100 went last year, 25, it's amazing. And so the ladies are making connections and hopefully finding the joy. That's such a great expression, the joy that travel can bring.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. Now I always ask my guests. I've called the podcast "Why Didn't Anyone Tell Me This?" So, what have you heard people say? Why didn't I know this before about traveling?
So I think I thought about this and I was thinking, why didn't anybody tell me that there were so many solo women doing this and that it is such a big community? Because I don't think, you know, initially they were maybe hard to find, but I had no idea that this, and I hear that a lot now. So a lot of ladies say, oh my God, I had no idea that so many women over 50 or 60 or 70 are traveling solo. Why didn't they tell me that? It's, if only I'd known. If only I'd known earlier. But yeah, yeah,
Excellent, excellent. So I really hope that we've motivated some people to think, well, I'm going to do this, and they can get if
yeah.
they don't know where, they can get the ideas from your Facebook group for sure. And then
Right,
the
right.
final
Yeah.
question, yeah, the final question, Deb. I have asked you this before, but you can say something different because I asked you this for my book. Deb, what makes you happy, and where is your happy place?
Well, my happy place, and I know I said this for your book, is anywhere near the sea. I mean, and I don't know why I live in London. Really, I didn't always live here. I did used to live by the sea, but I love being in the sea, on the sea, next to the sea. I like eating seafood and fish. I mean, anything to do with the sea. I just find it very calming. And beaches, those beautiful long beaches, any beach, that's my happy place. And it can be hot, it can be cold, beaches out of season, and all of the above. So that's definitely my happy place. Oh, sorry, and what was the first part of your question? Sorry, I
Well,
got
they're mixing on
lost.
what makes you happy. So yeah,
Yeah.
and
Oh, so many things. Yeah. But yeah.
food as well.
Traveling, eating, being with friends, yeah,
Fantastic. And
experiencing new things. Yeah.
I love that. I've never lived by the sea, so I am planning once my youngest has finished uni to move to the sea, and it will definitely be my happy place. I'm just going to do it. I'm just going
Yeah.
to move, but yeah.
Where are you
But
going? Do you know where you're going?
it might change. At this moment, it's
Right.
Brighton. I've got lots of great friends in
Oh, okay.
Brighton. I know the beach isn't brilliant, but I've lived for years now in a village, and I think it's time to get back into the middle of a city
Yeah.
and be have that vibrant time. And I want to be able
Oh,
to
Brighton is a
walk to the
very cool
sea.
place.
Yeah, yeah.
And
So
still close to the airport. That's the other thing that I always have to think about. I don't know about you, but when I think about where I want to live, it's like, where's your nearest airport? Because it's just like I love being, like Yorkshire, but the airport situation's not great. So yeah,
No, you're totally right. Totally right.
yeah, yeah.
And the very last question, again, I've asked you this before, but you can say something different. What advice would you give your younger self?
Stop worrying. I'm a bit of a worrier, but stop. I spent a lot of my teen years worrying. I worried a lot, worried about everything. I'm from a family of worriers, and it's very easy to say stop worrying, but I wished I had just learnt to relax a bit more and just enjoy things and not worry. So yeah, stop worrying, it'll all be okay.
It's brilliant advice, but I do think it's one of those things that as we become wise women, we realize these things. That's why I think it's a good question to ask people, because we just become, I don't know, better, not better people, but that wisdom with age, I think, is brilliant.
I still do worry about things, but I'm getting better. I am getting better. There are lots of sort of techniques that we can all learn, but yeah, it's a hard one. But yeah, I think of all the things I worried about. I can't remember all these. There's lots of sayings about worrying and why it is can be such a pointless thing to do. But I can't remember any of them. But yeah, most of the things we worry about never happen. Yeah.
Exactly. Well, Deb, that has been absolutely inspiring. I want to get on a plane right now. I'm not going to get on a plane till next Wednesday, but I have got
Well,
lots
you've
of,
got a great trip coming up.
yeah.
That I mean, very yeah.
I've got some May. May for me is amazing, as well as Jeddah. I've got two different trips to France, and one of them is our retreat that we're running,
Your retreat.
cold water
Yeah.
swimming. So yeah, I just think it's brilliant, brilliant time. The world's open to us. We can go and do whatever we want to do. So I encourage everyone, follow you on social media and hopefully be inspired. So thank you so much, Deb.
Oh, thank you, Joyce. Always an absolute pleasure to chat with you. And I can't believe that we've been talking for an hour. That's gone so quickly. Amazing.
Lucky we're meeting for lunch on Monday. And those that are
I know, to
watching,
be continued, right?
it's a
Yeah.
shame. It's a shame that some people can't see the video. But at the moment, the sun has come at the back of you, and you've got a sort of
My
halo.
halo.
You've got a halo.
Oh my God. I
Oh,
know.
I
Yeah.
love
It
it.
does
No,
like a halo, doesn't it?
it does look like a halo. I
Hilarious.
love it. So people can't see that; they're
Oh,
only listening in.
yeah.
But yeah, Deb has a halo. So Deb, thank you very
No, he
much.
doesn't see okay. Thank you, Joyce. Thank you.